If you move them around or whatever you want to.
Yes. So here, there's a heater there running. Plug that heater in. That one that's right there. No, right to your left. Right. Okay, sit down there. You're gonna grab a seat, right?
Yeah, I just forgot my
Huh? Yeah. Sorry, buddy.
You can put that bad boy on noise on. They didn't start yet.
What's it low? You're going underground. In the middle of it.
Some more.
Yo, you ready? You want to start up?
Climb on the left, on the right.
That east?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's west.
A lot of Father of the universe.
A lot of Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Love,
Truth.
justice,
Peace. Freedom. And justice.
Allah
is my protector.
my
My guide. And my salvation. By night. And by day. His holy prophet. Noble Juali. Islam was.
Prophet knew I didn't mean any harm by that. The heater's working? Everything good? What's wrong? Are you good? Yeah. Well, that should be all right because it's coming off of the one circuit, but it's not coming off of one. Oh, yeah, you're right. So, anyways. Yeah, we're just waiting on.
Prophet warns all Muslims, governors, ordered to read proclamation at each meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical, agitating speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Juali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out a divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Noble Juali. Islam. To be proclaimed at every meeting. Islam. I am glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now, by the same people of our side of the nation that claim that I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I am calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet Noble Drew Ali. To the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam. This is the instruction from your Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is now on, but the weak can comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, I Noble Drew Ali. And that's why many hearts have been turned to stone. Many have eyes to see, but cannot see, ears to hear, but cannot hear, lest they will be confounded of their sins. These are trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but would sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah would bless you for your good work. Peace, your divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali. That's not a brilliant idea. We got kettle upstairs.
Yeah.
You want to put the kettle on?
What?
There's some tea going on. Hold on.
You're cold?
It's a little chilly. My hands holding a cup right now would be rather splendid.
Well, we have a little barbecue here. You want to just
We might as well go in.
go in there? Oh, yeah.
Might as well go in. Islam Wars. There was something that we were going to play today, but somebody had a question in here. I think we could deal with. Somebody was asking about where is it? Oh, how does one correct being deported? How does one correct being deported?
Like correct being deported, meaning already being deported.
It could be that they're already being deported.
Oh, they're in the process.
Or it could be that they're already, yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, that was all they put in there. Correct being deported. So if it's a situation where they already sent the papers and they're saying you got to leave on this day or whatever, then it is what it is. Or you, whatever paper it is that they send you, you see if there's some type of appeal process on the paper. If there's no appeal process, then you're probably looking at trying to deal with something after the fact, which you're not applying this after the fact if they already did whatever it is that they're doing. Yeah, right. And that's the issue with people coming into this information with issues that they want to try to take this and then apply it to the issue where it doesn't really work like that. So, for example, one of the Moors over here who had an issue with deportation, he was supposed to get deported after his sentence, because during the whole time of the sentence, of the doing the time of whatever, they were exercising as a Moor and putting people on notice and being this. When the time came for deportation, they dealt with it as a Moor, and then it resolved itself, because ultimately they don't have jurisdiction over the individual who has put them on notice. So when individuals come into this because they got some issue and now they want to apply this to the issue, if you got the issue as nigger, like you're pretty much, you know what I mean? That's where it's at. Especially if it's a situation where you're talking about deporting, and then they actually sent you the notice that here's your date when you gotta leave, and you better be at the airport or whatever like that, or we're gonna come get you, pretty much. right? And if it's a situation where you were deported already, wherever you were deported to, you go through the process there. So, for example, if you're near so-called Jamaica, there's Moors there who they were sent there, deported. They went through the motions, and then now they have their Jamaican license, Jamaican whatever, Jamaican documentation or whatever like that in their free national name, because they got deported to their land, and because they're in their land, the process for them to get out of the dead status, they just go through the process because they're already where they were born at. You know what I mean?
With that answer, you should be able to answer that.
Yeah. So for Moors near that jurisdiction, you could contact Brother Gadai's Bay, and he's out there, and they do their weekly classes and all that stuff. Gadai's Bay's number is 876-589-5864. 876-589-5864. 876-589-5864. And those Moors there, like one of the Moors here, Brother Sirius Bay, he got deported probably 2000. He got deported probably 2012 or something like that. Probably 2012 he got deported. And then when he went there, he pretty much just went through the motions there, you know, name correction. Well, I think it was the Attorney General's office or somebody. There's some jurisdiction over there that deals with it. Went to them, went through the whole thing, changes all his information to his free national name, and then started applying for all the Jamaican stuff in free national name, and then got everything in free national. Like, he's not even known as the deportee name anymore out there, you know.
You apply for what years to come back here?
Say it again.
You apply for what to come back?
No, when he because he's from there.
Mm-hmm.
So what he did was he went through whatever the process is there to just get everything changed over, so that he can have everything in the new name, and then now use the new name's information to travel or whatever the case is. He just hasn't been in a position to leave yet. You know what I mean? But passports in free national name, licenses in free national name, as far as like the Jamaican documents or whatever. You know? Yeah. So yeah, that's where that's at. You know, once you're already deported, you could look at it like clean slate, and then get yourself out that dead status that they used to deport you, and correct it and go from there. All right. So what we had today, there was let me see if I find them quick fast so we can put them on blast. There was YouTube. There was a YouTube troll by the name of. There's a YouTube troll by the name of Matthew Salzer, Salzer, and Matthew Salzer was one of those Europeans out there that have their campaign going on to try to make people think that Moors don't know what we're talking about and we're sovereign citizens and all this stuff. So he's talking about the flaws within the Moorish sovereign citizen ideology or whatever like that. So we pulled up a European, actually a Moor sent me a European, Robert David Steele and Rick Martin. And it's about a 23-minute discussion, but some of the stuff we could definitely have some discussions on with regard to the European perspective and how in line some of this stuff is that they're dealing with what we're dealing with, right? So when we have these trolls that pop up, you know, trying to make it look as if Moors don't know what we're talking about, how come you guys aren't debating these Europeans talking just like Moors? You know, why aren't they going at them? Why aren't they making all these multiple videos talking about these Europeans are talking about law wrong or whatever, right?
Rather than hackers, viruses, like, you know, the computers running so smooth.
Yeah.
And then you get these viruses that try to, you know, make the things.
Yeah, slow down your stuff. Yeah.
Richard Martin, you came to my attention after I had been helping the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association of America, and they have set the world on fire. And now I'm seeing constitutional lawyers, which you represent. I'm seeing constitutional pastors, and I'm seeing constitutional doctors. So you and I have agreed to a hard-hitting interview, 7 questions in 30 minutes. I'm just going to start, and God bless you, sir, for what you're doing. So first question. Tell us about the constitutional lawyers.
Okay, constitutional law group was a group of us that got together, started studying constitutional law and seeing all the discrepancies that were going on in the courtroom. And it was our duty to start bringing this knowledge out to the public so they would not become victims of corrupt judges, corrupt prosecutors, corrupt law enforcement. And we started holding these judges' feet to the fire from the very get-go by learning the procedures and learning real law. And that's what we based ourselves on. And we started going after these bar attorneys. And we say that this is the problem that we have with our judicial system is the bar attorneys. The bar stands for the British Accredited Registry. And it is the right of every person to practice law. We've got several Supreme Court rulings. I go in not as an attorney, but I go in as assistant.
If anything, you could bring the stuff down. Just bring down some cups and everything.
Of counsel, which is guaranteed under the 6th Amendment. It doesn't say you have the right to a bar attorney. You have the right to assistance of counsel. When someone hires...
So with us, for example, right? The whole idea of assistance with counsel or whatever, right? It's not that we're playing lawyer, we're playing attorney, we're whatever, right? But every individual is their own counsel. Because of the knowledge that we have, we don't need them as a counselor. Now these Europeans are coming out and saying the same stuff that we've been saying. You don't need no lawyer. Right, yeah. Which you know, from the perspective, they're hiring the attorney to do the job for them, right? The Europeans are coming out and saying it's not the bar associate that you should be hiring, right? It's not the individual who is part of the bar, right? It's you having assistance with your case. Anybody could do that. Anybody with the knowledge could do that, right? Could do the whole thing of assist you, help you out. You know what I mean? Where do I go to this? No different than when Moors have stuff and they're calling around the different Moors. Then give me some CC names or whatever. Let me see your writ that you sent. Oh, match these 2 writs up. See what you know what I mean. Whatever. That's what the amendment is talking about. The 6th Amendment, that you have the right to assistance. Not that you have to have a lawyer or you have to have some type of attorney or whatever like that, right?
you've even seen the movies, like sometimes lawyers would use the librarian as an assistant, as like a citator, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
They have their assistant. Lawyers, they have their assistant.
Yeah, they have their own
Or
assistants
if it's
as
a
far as the lawyer.
lawyer's, assistants that do the cheating of using the law associates that from the library.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So like checking like books, you know what I mean?
Right. But then also too that majority of the lawyers would be using the law library as what you're talking about. Yeah, they'll be using the law library for that. Right.
So they have their own library and everything, books and computers, everything.
So,
Breaker. Sounds no power.
Have no clue. That's what the position they place themselves in. Right to assistance of counsel. Every person to practice law. We've got several Supreme Court rulings. I go in not as an attorney, but I go in as assistance of counsel, which is guaranteed under the Sixth Amendment. It doesn't say you have the right to a bar attorney. You have the right to assistance of counsel. When someone hires a bar attorney, the bar attorney's first priority is to protect the court and the bar association and not the client. And once you hire a bar attorney, that automatically makes you a ward of the court, giving jurisdiction over you. You're a ward of the court. You're an imbecile of unsound mind. And most people have no clue that's what the position they've placed themselves in, because they can't handle their own affairs. The Constitutional Law Group came into being in 1996 to teach people, the Constitution, and the Constitution is not what gives us our rights. The Constitution is there to limit government. We only delegated, and the word is delegated, limited authority to government to protect our rights and not trespass on them.
I like that very, very much. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Sidney Powell, who wrote the book License to Lie. And President Trump has said the entire system is rigged. Matt Taibbi has written a book on the divide, one legal system for the rich, one legal system for the poor. Eric Holder is notorious from Covington and Burling for having taken jail off the table for white-collar criminals. So my second question is, how did you really get passionate about this, and what have you done about the COVID's deception?
Okay. I got really passionate about this when I got into seeing what was going on in the family courts and family court judges that were engaged in pedophilia and child trafficking. And in the photographs I've seen were just horrendous what's going on. And it's a very satanic system that needs to be, we have to shine the light on it. And that's where it began. And then on March 19th of last year, it was my 50th birthday. I had a party planned. I had a restaurant and bar leased out for 120 of my friends for my 50th birthday party. And that's when they shut down Texas. And I couldn't even get my deposit back for the party. And I got in touch with Dr. David Martin, who's part of my team as well. We're bringing doctors, pastors, and sheriffs into our fold to educate the public on our rights. Mandates are not law. For a law to become law, it has to be voted on by legislation. And these executive orders, these emergency orders, are in total violation of due process of law. You cannot take somebody's business or close down somebody's business without due process of law. And I have the right to protect my property. And we've opened up well over 20,000 businesses across the United States. We've educated sheriffs. We've educated law enforcement. I've spoke with over 600 sheriffs that will not enforce these mandates.
Right. Spoke with all these sheriffs, who know that something's wrong with what's going on, right? Why is it they can do that? Because these Europeans know sheriff's the law. They're not playing with chief of police. They're not playing with, sergeant, whoever, lieutenant, whoever, sheriff. All these different sheriffs now are getting on board because they know that their job got taken. They have them limited to just evictions and doing whatever, doing things that have nothing to do with upholding the law. And then they have the chief of police going down the line as the people who get called if there's an issue, if there's some type of problem, right? When it should be the sheriff that's called at all times by the court, the corporate jurisdictions. Now it could be a buyout thing. You know what I mean? Like when we talk about here, that the office of the sheriff, you go in there, no sheriff in there. It's a regular Metro Police in the sheriff's office. You know what I mean? Why would they be impersonating a sheriff if they're not criminal? You know what I mean? Or are they sitting in that seat in order to have the power of the sheriff and then transfer that power to everybody else who's claiming to be law enforcement, when we already know that those people who are claiming law enforcement, they're violating oath, they're violating rights, they're violating anything having to do with anything that's right and lawful or whatever like that, right? But
So here what they're talking this monetary master, we know that's not law.
right.
Because she didn't go through Congress, she didn't nothing like that.
Yeah. And once the like for even with regard to the temple too, like if individuals had their stuff together and said, okay, here's 50 grand. For temple gets any fines or whatever like that, we just going to pay the fine. There ain't no big deal. We'd be open and not have any issues. Be open all we want. You know what I mean? But then people have this mindset, well, we're the Moors and we should just be open. Well, yeah, kind of, but not really, because you're not coming up with the 10 to 50 grand for us to pay the fine. Or we're gonna be like Adamson barbecue guy, that now you owe 180 grand to the city that you're gonna have to pay under some COVID whatever. Or we could do like what we're doing. You know what I mean? As of right now, just so that we could stay open, we just limit it to the numbers that, you know what I mean, they're saying whatever, and then we're open and we don't close. You know what I mean? And what's better? You know what I mean? Being open a little bit or shutting down completely because now you got some fine or something from these people that you can't even really deal with because of the criminality. Like they're saying, everybody knows that this activity that they're engaging with is against rights, against everything that is de jure. You know what I mean? The masking. Now I'm seeing people, I don't even know where it came from, but now I see people got 2 masks on.
Yeah.
Like, why are you wearing 2?
Two on the
masks?
shield. Two on the face shield.
Like, what are you talking about? And then Fauci already came out and said, well, the mask don't work. The mask's not stopping nothing or whatever. So why even got all these masks and all this? Right? What's the purpose? Yeah.
For a scientist,
right? What's the meaning behind this? You know?
2 masks, that's mad.
Yeah.
Plus face shield, I'm telling
And
you.
a face shield.
You know what? I was at the bank the other day, and now I don't know if they've always had it, but now they're actually posting up the signs of you're actually exempt, right? So I walked in, I kept the mask right here on my chin, just to see if somebody would say something like their people would exercise that on me, you know? And the first guy, he's just like, sir, can I get you to wear your mask? I'm like, sir, there's an exemption if the guy beside him wasn't there to let him know that the exemption was like the sign was there, he wouldn't have even known. You know what I mean? So it's just all of like paying attention, you know, like paying attention to see, because like they'll create the loophole, and then like if the loophole's there, not everyone's gonna be able to catch that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just like, yeah, like they're slowly posting up the sign for everybody to read, so they don't have to wear the mask. But it's not gonna be a walk in the park. You're gonna still have the 1-2 people that are gonna be exercising, because they feel like they're uplifting the whole. You know what I mean? They're being the most loyalists, you know. But it's like that's not really what's going on.
Yeah.
Right where you use.
Yeah.
Being loyalist.
Yeah. Loyal.
Besides tip though, you know what I mean? It tips. Like you'll go on this side, and then after that we'll go on this side. So if you're not up to date, it's on this, the ball's on this side of the court. You know what I mean? It's like basketball. You can't be like, you know, jogging back and stuff.
Scoring in your own net.
Yeah.
I went into the bank and first the security at the door told me I can't get in without the mark. I said no, I cannot wear it and I have to get in. You leave me alone.
No issue. No issues.
I went to the front desk girl. Same thing. No, I can't wear it. This is an appointment that I made to go into an office now, not just outside here.
Yeah.
So the lady at the corner, I think she's Jamaican. She said to me, "Sir, why are you not wearing a mask?" I said, "Ma'am, I passed one security, one whatever it is. I made it this far. You still why? And I said to her, like quietly now, I said to her, why it's over your mouth, not your nose? I understand what you're saying. I don't want to hear it either. I whispered to her, because she had it over her mouth, not her nose. So I'm saying, oh, you're asking me to wear mine, but yours is over your mouth. Then she started to whisper now and said, I understand what you're saying, because I keep it up on my mouth, not my nose.
No. But then if you didn't challenge nothing,
Exactly.
you would have put your stuff on like zombie.
Yeah. So beauty them. No.
Yeah.
Then I went in the office. No, the Chinese girl or whatever. She's good. She have a glass on her desk, so I'm behind her glass. And we talk. We do my thing and I left. No mask. I told them I need oxygen and nobody gonna get between me and nature that's giving me oxygen.
Yeah.
Nobody. I don't care. On the bus, I talk loud. I talk loud on the bus. And I miss it. I see these little trees outside. They're giving out oxygen.
You need that.
For us.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to return them a favor by carbon. You covering your nose, taking some of the carbon and give them a little bit and taking a little bit of oxygen and playing game with following people that don't even know their head from their toe.
Yeah.
Nature will take care of me. You and your doctors and your people do what you have to do. See, you have your mask, you're protected. I don't have any. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Great.
Like,
That's it. That's nice.
Leave me alone.
Yeah.
You're protected, man. You have your mask. What are you about me for?
Exactly.
I wear a mask and I'm at work.
It's just crazy, man.
Pain, fumes. Then as soon as I get out of that, I take another call, man. I can't keep it up.
I feel like they just feel like they're being like whistleblowers or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
like,
it's like a snitch line or whatever.
yeah.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
like, to the police, it's like you're not really being that guy. Like, you know what I mean?
They see themselves like Crime Stop.
Yeah. Like they see
Yeah.
themselves as being like they're stopping a crime or whatever. But that's not what you're really doing. If you really get what you're trying to do, you know what I mean?
You even asked me before, is it a medical issue?
Okay.
I said that I won't even discuss that with you.
That's personal.
Don't even ask me that.
Yeah.
when I'm at the straw, or the Jello, they make you do that list, the checklist.
Yeah.
Every place you come to, I gotta do a delivery to.
So it's like an hour.
Have you been around anyone who's had COVID? That's a runny nose, sore throat, loss of sense of taste. These are really insane.
This one goes down to get the rental. Then we can both travel up and they can drop you off. That's long. Wow. Thanks, guys.
No, you're behind the curve.
Seemingly, I guess I should be taking my water first.
I'm gonna close this door upstairs. I gotta
You're gonna.
just to keep the heat in.
Yeah.
Heat rising.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
And that's what we need. We have 3,133 sheriffs across the nation. And it's a matter of getting with people like Rick Mack and pastors and educating them, and then educating law enforcement on what their duties are and the Constitution, to be there to uphold their oath and protect the rights of the people. We filed 42 mass tort claims against 42 governors across the United States. We're being held up in court. When I thought we were going to get a ruling in Massachusetts, we had about 5,000 people standing outside the federal courthouse in Boston Harbor. And I made the statement that the judges better rule correctly on this, or we're going after the judges next. What they did was insane. Instead of giving us a ruling, they suspended the ruling, and it's been 3 months now. We still have not gotten a ruling when we thought we were actually going to get a foothold.
All right. So this is what the Europeans are doing. The Europeans said, we're gonna sue the governors, because the governors are ones who put in the mandate for the mass or whatever, because it's violating people's rights. They sued the governors. When it went to court, they pretty much did the same thing that they do to Moors, adjourn it. We'll see you next month. We'll see you next month. We'll see you next month. And they just keep pushing the date. In their case, they just suspended it altogether. You're not getting a ruling. Why are they doing that? Because even these Europeans are wards. They don't got rights. That's like Negro black color going out to march. All of them are naturalized. So they don't have rights. They're not citizens of whatever. They're not home. They're going to look at it as if the judges did something and the court did something and the whatever. That's not only what's going on. What's going on too is that these Europeans aren't home and you don't have rights.
And they agreed to come to this corporation as a corporate person.
Yeah.
So they already give up their stuff.
They gave up their stuff already.
They're already gone. So you gotta go back to Europe to get that.
Yep. If you want that, you can go back to Europe.
Go back to Europe to get that right.
That's funny. I heard no, this is saying. I heard a Caucasian lady say, she was joking about it too, like white privileges, but that's the key word is privilege, right? And they know that they have some privileges, and they know they don't have no rights over here. So they love saying the white privilege because they know their privilege is higher than our privileges, right? Right? So there's not. So I have to say that.
But they gotta bear in mind that privilege can be taken.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's not a right. You own that. It's a privilege, a favor.
And their monarchs who made the original agreements, who we are, the nobles who we are related with, aren't here for you anymore. They're not here. They don't have the jurisdiction here. So
They give up that.
yeah, because when they were coming over here, they married into the royal families here too.
Yeah.
Right? So they're not here. Just these corporations, these business charter transaction people.
Yep.
Well,
And
they're
that-
holding on to dead stories.
Yeah.
The massive don't even have up to. That's the sad thing.
Well, regardless of what their nationality
Look how
is.
easy for the massive now to rise up and just turn it over.
Yeah.
Just
Simple.
to rise up now and turn this thing over.
Simple.
Just by saying who you are, without even knowing the depth of it.
Yeah.
Because as it is, with the even with the apologies of George Washington later, that alone to tell you, you know what? I just found out. So don't ever ask me why I walk backward.
Yeah.
I'm learning to walk now. So don't even ask me why. I'm learning.
Yeah.
So you can't fool me now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So don't have to have all the knowledge of what it is, but to make that step and know what it is and stay forward to that.
Some people just have so much going on. Not to say that it's an excuse, but like some people just lost in like so much. They're animated. You know what I mean? Like their mind is animated in so much different worlds, where it's hard for them just to like get a new clear mind. You know what I mean? So yeah.
It's like when you're telling them that the veil just comes up.
Oh yeah.
And then you can't hear you anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see them, transitioning to that. You like it's in there, that kind of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a shocking thing. So if someone gets shocked, you get moved away from it.
Yeah. 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 So somebody put the taser to you.
And now it's like the same people who Morris have been telling me, now they're telling me.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's like,
Yep.
What else you want to tell you now?
like,
Who
you wanted
else?
what did Morris always say? You want the Europeans to tell you?
Yeah.
But he's telling you, he's
Let the European tell you that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's still there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a hard time because they're gonna look at the European now, telling them the real truth. How am I gonna trust you? Like to me. So there's not a problem.
Yeah.
The truth gonna become unbelievable like this.
Facts.
So,
My belief is once we take down one of these corrupt governors, they should all start tumbling like dominoes. And it's going to take we, the people, putting pressure on our public servants. And we're going to use their oath of office to be a linchpin to hang them by. Because that oath of office is our guarantee that they will uphold our rights. They will defend our rights and not trespass on them.
Right. And again, going back to what Moore's been telling people, get these people's oath of office. Now, 2021, the Europeans coming out and telling them, we're going to use their oath of office to pin them to the wall to show that they're in violation or whatever. We're going to use that against them.
Make sure I'm
right?
when I'm talking.
Gotta have the oath.
Show them.
I got mine too.
Right? Gotta have their oath.
I have a question. Is a police officer, like when they're writing out summary reports, are they allowed to cross out their names and give like another title in addition to like that summary report?
Under color, they'll do that because they know once you have their name, they could be liable.
Okay.
And they don't want their name in no lawsuit or whatever like that. You know what I mean?
Because I got in a car accident and somebody hit me in the back, and we just went to the OPP just to get like the quick summary report of what happened. And I just like to look at like the documents, you know what I mean? And I just realized the guy scratched out his name, he just scratched out his name, and then he just initialed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, why did you do that?
Read the initial. You don't know who.
You don't know who it is.
Yeah.
Initial makes it broad.
Yeah, it's just like.
Yeah. Right. Which again goes back to the whole thing of the activity that law enforcement takes, which is not in line with de jure law, is because of our people not being aligned with de jure law. So they have a out. Because if our people who are the founders of civilization aren't following the law, then why would these people follow the law? You know what I mean? If the people who made up law aren't following the law, and they're doing whatever, and they call themselves whatever, it doesn't matter, then I'm gonna scratch out this stuff. I'm gonna put an initial there, so that way nobody can hold me liable later when this stuff comes back that there was an error, or you know what I mean, somebody took too long to do something or whatever like that. Whatever it is, any type of liability that could fall on them, they just remove themselves from being able to be liable. You know what I mean?
That I think is Holland.
Why? What happened? What tripped out?
Yeah, we had a trick before. Sorry, no, yeah, no, I flipped it. Yeah.
Remember the prophet said, right? You might have to make that movement in the winter, right? So
Good thing spring's coming. good thing spring's on the way.
my empress would say, "You're not really Canadian." No, she'd say, "You're Canadian, right?" Go on, Canadians. I said, "I'm not Canadian."
I agree with you completely. And one of the things that I'm seeing is.
Oh, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I remember looking at a chance disclosure when they charged me for abstract justice. In his wording of his, as I told him, I want the full thing, not just that 5-page. 10, 15, 20, I want that out.
Yeah.
So I eventually get that. And in there, he messed up so much, no wonder they have to dismiss it and say there's no witness. It's not to dismiss, no witness.
Yeah.
That's the reason. I said, why dismiss? No witness. After someone, the cruiser, 8 cruiser come and all 2
Yeah.
plus the supervisor that I called, and no witness.
Yeah.
Now, in his thing, he's saying that, rumbling his mouth, saying that I'm claiming that I'm Moorish sovereign or Moorish something.
Mm-hmm.
He put the word Moorish in.
Yeah. As soon as he put it, he played himself.
You know who he's talking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm claiming.
Yeah.
So that make them don't even want to go no further with this because you already start agreeing with him that no more.
Right.
Start agreeing with him.
Yeah.
Because you're putting on paper that he said he's just try to bring his truck on whatever, but I'm telling you, and I have IDs to show you and you see them too.
Mm-hmm.
So I know they wasn't gonna go nowhere. So that's their sneaky little way.
Yeah.
And I pretended I was hungry, saying, How could this mess? What happened?
Yeah.
I'm here now and what happened?
I'm here.
Yeah.
There's no court.
And the camera
That reminds me of when it said they will just once you know what you're doing, they will just show you the door.
Yeah.
Don't even bother to argue with them or waste it.
Don't even waste your time.
Because that's the door that they're showing you. They don't want the rest of people to know that door.
Yeah.
In other words, they don't want the rest of people in the court to know where you come from.
Yeah, but it's inevitable, right? I mean, it's the words, right? You are who you say you are.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to write that down.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell you who you are,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing like collectively now, right? Once you all start saying that, then it's just like the prophet says, it's gonna be done in a way I can't
be told. Yep, it's gonna be a breakfast flight. You'll make it to lunch. Stop you over before the sun comes up. Yeah.
I think it's gonna be like that movie, Kingdom of Heaven with Saladin. He's like, yeah, you guys can all go home. Nothing gonna happen. Go home.
Just go home.
I'll go. Just line up.
And I never understood too. I always say, why can this something? Because some of them are telling us who we are, right? And then I was talking to myself, I'm like, how come, if they all know who we are, how come my neighbor down the street who loves me so much, who's a Caucasian, how come she can't just come and say, right here, more, right? You know what I'm saying? But I said again, right? Like, he's not going to tell you who you are. You have to tell the world who you are. You know, I am what I say I am.
Yeah.
The great I am. Right?
Yeah, some of my European friends, when I call them though, they'd be like, Are you calling me just to say that you told me so? I'm just like, nah.
I'm calling.
In other words, it's always not.
They used to battle with me at the bar, no, you're not, you know what I mean. But they know because I know that they're pulling my shirt. You know what I mean? They're smiling like at the side of their mouth. You know?
Crazy. Islam. Well, somebody had asked about getting the oath of office. So for different jurisdictions have different um, policies or whatever to get oaths. For police, you can go to International Association of Chiefs of Police. On the International Association of Chiefs of Police website, you get all the law enforcement oaths off there. For the doctor people, they have their Hippocratic oath. For the judges, well, out here, because all the judges are quasi or not legitimate, they have their oath that they take to the Queen, which is really supposed to be citizenship oath only. You know what I mean? But they show their allegiance to Regina because that's who they're serving. Which then makes that not really an oath like that, because their oath is supposed to be upholding the law, not going with what some colonist says or whatever. What else is there? Oh, and the bar people would have their oath that they take. But majority of the stuff you could just go on, you could just Google that for the state, whatever state you're in, whatever state you're near, and you can get that information. But also keep in mind that when we're talking about quote unquote governmental offices or any type of positions relative to court, relative to law enforcement, etc., stuff like that, that they might have a statement more than an oath that they're going to uphold something or that they're going to do, just like in the oath that you were showing. That, yeah, it says oath on it, right? But most of the time they don't do what the oath says. They don't do the job that they're supposed to do based on this oath that they took, right? So what is it that's really, what are they really obligated to if they're going to be violating the oath that they took, that they signed their signature to? If they're still going to be violating the oath, then that lets you know that the oath is really not where it's at. You know what I mean? And it's really about you knowing, so that once you know, you could counteract whatever it is, not hold them to some oath that they don't follow anyways. Because to say, oh yeah, well, you should be following the oath, but they don't follow the oath, then you really don't have argument. What's the next thing is, okay, well, what's the obligation of these people? Okay, Constitution, uphold the Constitution. Not the oath to uphold the Constitution, but the Constitution itself is the oath to present to them. Right?
I had an interesting thought too. You're saying how their allegiance is to the Queen, Regina.
Yeah.
Right? So at the end of the day, their allegiance is the Queen of Regina, which is to serve land all day, every day, right? And they've been doing it with the popes of Rome, right? And you have the oath that they're dealing with, where they undersigned to that oath to uphold the Constitution, right? And it's like, it's just truth and falsehood like mixed into one, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's the way we
yeah, it's all mixed into one, because they're using truth by saying they're upholding the Constitution, but they don't really uphold the Constitution, because at the end of the day, they resort back to serving the Queen first, who is to serve, all right? So they're saying, yeah, the truth is here, but you guys aren't, like you said, we're not enforcing the Constitution anyways, right? Collectively, so they did that on their end, I think, as a safeguard on their end, to say, well, we still have the oath here to say that we uphold the Constitution, but our allegiance is the Queen, which is to usurp land, and Queen's subjects are you guys, which aren't upholding the Constitution, right?
Yeah, some of them will, a lot of them back down from any legal like jargon, or like, you know what I mean? Because they're not even like I want to say prolific. Like, you know what I mean? They're like, oh, Constitution, and then after that they just stop talking. They don't go there because it's a language that we're learning. You know what I mean? Like that our forefathers knew through time. You know what I mean? we're supposed to be able to, yeah, like we're supposed to create our own language, and from our own language, just like a Seer Ducatir, we'll have our own like parallel of ways to like communicate with each other, you know? Where they would just look at us and they'd be like, yo, what are they talking about? But we know what we're talking about because we said we had years of exercise of telepathy, you know what I mean, within each other, you know what I mean? For them, it's going to be very hard. It's going to be glitched in them. It's just like hard for them to conjunction all the words that we've studied, you know what I mean? Over the long period of time, you know?
And the thing is that their big boss knows the language you're speaking, but they don't.
Exactly. Our big bosses too. No, we don't. It's not like we have big bosses, but like our elders, Cujo, you know what I mean? They've been in it too, you know what I mean? So we're uplifting to articulate like how you guys do, you know? And it's not
their
like
case is different because they're not trying to know what to do. They just get this little piece to work with. No more not getting work with. Go on the street, catch you, can
yeah. So
if ticket, charge them, whatever.
We're actually going to get a foothold. My belief is once we take down one of these corrupt governors, they should all start tumbling like dominoes. And it's going to take we, the people, putting pressure on our public servants. And we're going to use their oath of office to be a linchpin to hang them by. Because that oath of office is our guarantee that they will uphold our rights. They will defend our rights and not trespass on them.
I agree with you completely. And one of the things that I'm seeing is that
Yeah, we want to make sure that we put it out there for the trolls in the chat. Make sure you're listening carefully to these Europeans tell you about the same stuff more has been telling you that you're saying we're wrong about.
citizens have been too passive, and they have allowed people to be elected and appointed who are then bribed, blackmailed, or brainwashed. What I'm seeing is that citizens have been too passive, and they have allowed people to be elected.
Joel, said something about Morris being active, not passive. Oh, not passive. Oh, okay.
Active, not passive.
Oh, interesting.
It's passive, you could turn in your badge and go back to the state that I find.
Interesting.
One of the things that I'm seeing is that citizens have been too passive, and they have allowed people to be elected and appointed who are then bribed, blackmailed, or brainwashed into doing the bidding of the 1%. Now, you have a summary of the problem that you want to deliver. What is that summary?
Well, basically what I stated back on March 19th of last year, I came straight out and I said, look, people, this is nothing less than a Trojan horse to bring in the economic collapse of the United States economy. The common sense just kind of went out the door with a lot of people. You've got mom and pop's hardware store that has to be closed, but Home Depot is allowed to stay open. The large corporations are making a killing while small business America, which is our fiber, the fabric of our nation, is going bankrupt. And what I've been explaining and teaching is that they have no lawful authority to shut you down. They're acting outside their jurisdiction. And we need to start holding these public servants accountable. And in the mass tort claim that we put together, we use something they call the Patriot Act, which I say is totally unpatriotic. But in Section 802 of the Patriot Act, it clearly gives us the definition of what a domestic terrorist is. And that's what we're charging these governors with that have been pushing these mandates and violating their oath of office. They're acting in treason and sedition against the American people. And most of them have been bribed, paid off, and just the same thing with the voter fraud. I mean, we're well aware.
Blackmailed with pedophilia and trafficking. I mean, that's
Absolutely.
there are 50 pedophilia entrapment cells across this country. Now, I really think that NSA has been weaponized. There's some things going on in the background with military tribunals and other things, but I think you're right on target. Now, you have a sense of a root cause, and I think it's the people abdicating their responsibility, and we're going to win the country back one county at a time. But what's your definition of the root cause?
The root cause is going to be ignorance, and most people they want everybody to do the heavy lifting for them, and they're not taking responsibility. And we're supposed to be a self-governing people. And that's the heartbreak of it, is they expect everybody else to do the heavy lifting. And when I come to people, I said, it's your responsibility to make a stand. And people know me quite well. I've been in the courtroom more than 100 times. I've defended cases successfully. I haven't had a driver's license since 2001. I have my own plates. They're the Gladstone flag. Don't tread on me.
No. So how is it now?
Don't tread on me. I don't have a license.
How is it that Moors are violating something or whatever like that because we don't want licenses or whatever, right? We're sovereign citizen because we don't want license and we don't want plates or whatever. We're sovereign citizen because we have our own ID and whatever like that. And this European is saying the exact same stuff that Moore's been telling people for the past 100 years.
And he's doing it for so long.
And he's doing it since 2001. He's been doing it, right?
Should have been traveling and have a license.
Since 2001, I haven't had a license. We go check their videos. No trolls on there trolling them. Zero. Everybody on there. Everybody on here.
Yeah, going, yeah, you know, you're right, man, you know, getting the positive.
Right. Right?
On the more.
Just stop wearing your mask, people. Take your rights back. We must act. Leaning on a shovel doesn't dig a hole.
Start digging.
Right? This is awesome. We should get everyone on board with this. The whole world is waking up. The system is so horrific, nothing short of revolution will fix this. Representative government is totally corrupt. That's the issue. It's lawless now against the American people. Bigger stores on the stock market don't have to shut down. It was pre-planned. Right? We need more men and women like this guy. He's saying the same stuff that Moore said. No, but they don't need more Moors like this. We really love to see you get the Kansas governor. God bless this group. I cannot believe our federal government did nothing about burning down the small businesses and shutdowns. Well, here's somebody. I'm sorry, but most blacks been saying that the whole system is rigged. I guess we can all see it now.
What?
Like a black piece in there.
A little bit, you know. Thank God for breaking this down and helping us. Your answer is an answer to a prayer. Keep going. We need constitutional support. Can every person file charges against each member of Congress every time they have a bill that infringes on our constitutional rights and the insurance company, like bills trying to infringe on the Second Amendment, since they come after that right more than any other? Good video. I very much like this. You need the veterans to form a militia. Sound familiar? I'm an attorney, and hell yes, the judges and the system are corrupt. I am getting the hell out. That's an attorney talking. This is simply brilliant, right? No, we're the trolls. Yep, yep. And again, it's going to be that situation where everybody else is going to be up. Everybody else is going to wake up, and our people are going to be the ones At the bottom, forget the bottom of the barrel. They're going to be outside the barrel, under the barrel. Because
like 2 days ago, we have already had over 100K.
yo, 100K views 2 days ago.
And no trolls.
0 trolls. Everybody's in favor of it. Never. 20 views. Here come the trolls trying to talk crazy on our stuff. Right? Here come the trolls. Here come the trolls. Nothing to say to these Europeans who's talking the same way that Moors are talking. No different.
No different.
No different
The only
whatsoever.
difference is that
He didn't use the
we are
best
the
terrorists
ones
too,
to
right?
talk.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
only difference is that we are the ones to talk.
Mhm.
Not you.
Yeah.
Because we are home, he's not home.
He's not.
Yep.
I'm trying to figure out how he's gonna make it out apply for himself.
Yeah. The key. You know what I mean? And again, that's the whole thing too with like already was saying with the truth and falsehood strangely mixed.
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
that the way that they're talking, they really can't talk like that. But because they have numbers of people,
Mhm.
right? Like we said, 100,000 views in 2 days. If they have people like that who's gonna support it, then you know what I mean? They said court, and then they had 5,000 people show up to the courthouse.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Can you
Right.
get 2 more to go with you?
Can't even, right? Okay.
And my brother, I taught him the law. He was a state trooper here in Texas. And 20 years ago, I showed up with my automobile with the "Don't Tread on Me" plates. And he shows up in his state trooper cruiser in full uniform for mom and dad's Christmas dinner. And I clearly stated to him, I said, well, Mike, way to dress up for Christmas dinner at mom and dad's. He looks over and he sees the plates on I had a Mercedes 500 SL at that time. He looks over and he says, I ought to arrest you right now for those license plates. And I said, well, I tell you what, I'll turn your misdemeanor against me into a felony against you. And he's like, you're out of your mind. My father, who was former police officer in Secret Service, goes, Mike, you better shut up. Your brother's right. And he goes, Dad, how can you agree with it? And I went to I said, well, Mike, way to dress up for Christmas dinner at mom and dad's. He looks over and he sees the plates on I had a Mercedes 500 SL at that time. He looks over and he says, I ought to arrest you right now for those license plates. And I said, well, I tell you what, I'll turn your misdemeanor against me into a felony against you. And he's like, you're out of your mind. My father, who was former police officer in Secret Service, goes, Mike, you better shut up. Your brother's right. And he goes, Dad, how can you agree with it? And I went to the book, the LexisNexis, and I pulled out 502.003, and I said, read that. And he realized the only reason I need a driver's license and license plates is if I'm engaged in commerce. My brother quit giving speeding tickets. So that Christmas,
Where's the trolls at? Where's the trolls? Where's the trolls? Nothing. They have no comment for this European. As soon as more start talking, they got something to say. Let these European talk. Nothing. Trolls are in the back. No, oh, this guy's a bitch and none of that stuff. None of that going on. They're just mute at this point because it's their own talking.
you. And he's like, you're out of your mind. My father, who was former police officer in Secret Service, goes, Mike, you better shut up. Your brother's right. And he goes, Dad, how can you agree with it? And I went to the book, the LexisNexis, and I pulled out 502.003, and I said, read that. And he realized the only reason I need a driver's license and license plates is if I'm engaged in commerce. My brother quit giving speeding tickets. So that Christmas, I bumped his career from being a state trooper to U.S. Marshal.
That's a great story, and it's quite fascinating. I do think, Sheriff Brad Rogers is famous for saying that the sheriff is the top law enforcement elected official in India.
That's correct.
And he's there to protect citizens from overreach by federal, state, and local I'm very inspired by what you're doing. So you have solutions. You're not just talking about a problem. You're talking about solutions. What is
Yes,
the solution?
the solution is right now, we're going to start holding, one of the things that we're doing, I started off with the mass tort claims. We're getting held up in court, okay? So then we started doing affidavits, okay, against these governors and public officials. And an unrebutted affidavit stands as fact in court, okay?
No, the same stuff Moore's been telling people.
You don't respond.
Right? You don't respond, you acquiesce. If you acquiesce, now this stuff could be used as evidence whenever a court date comes up, which is why you always send in some type of papers or whatever like that in order so that when they do acquiesce, yeah, right? When they do acquiesce, whatever you had in that writ stands.
Yes, I already give them rights. And then when I go there, you have it in front of you. You what do you call it now? Trying to tell me I'm not here.
Yeah.
Tell me to leave.
Yeah. And those are their tactics. You know.
I'm especially about Charlie.
Yeah.
I'm not purpose by they send me a bill that I owe them money, finance.
Will they send it to Straw? Of course.
So they haven't even been rebutting the affidavits, okay? And with that being said, we're still not getting traction in court. So the next process we're going after is every public servant has to have an indemnity bond. So now we're going after their indemnity bonds, and we find out who the insurance company is that is holding that indemnity bond, and we're filing claims against the insurance companies for violations of their oath of office. We're going to get traction one way or another, and we got to end this. But the way we end this is we've got to educate. The word is educate our public servants that they are there to protect our rights, not trespass on them. And those that do are acting in treason against their own oath of office. Now, when I made a statement before, we had 56 men that pledged their fortunes, their lives, and their sacred honor on that oath. And we have these public servants now that don't uphold that oath, and it's really heartbreaking because 9 of those men died of their wounds on the battlefield. 5 of them were sent to England and spent their lives in tortured prison until the end of the war. Majority of them lost everything they owned. Their families were murdered, executed, their ranches, farms burnt to the ground, and not one of them. This is what I'm trying to get through. When you take that oath of office, that is solemn. And we have public servants betraying that oath of office.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I think you're attacking the insurance companies as clever. One of the things a lot of people don't know is that insurance companies refuse to insure wireless and 5G. Lloyd's of London will not insure 5G and wireless installations. And that's for very, very good reason. Now, you are, like Sheriff Mack, a constitutional person. You have a sense of sheriffs, lawyers, pastors, and doctors. What do you think in terms of pastors, for example, organizing the way that you and Sheriff Mack have organized?
Well, the first breaking the chains of tyranny, I had Rick Mack as my guest speaker or guest host speaker. It was an 8-hour presentation. It was done at the House Church in Snohomish, Washington. And we've been using churches, and the second one we did.
Was there anything to pause for just now?
Yeah, they said 5G is not insured. It's not insured. It's not
Insurable.
insurable. Yeah.
So I'm looking like this. What if you have your Wi-Fi at home is 5G and you get sick?
Yeah.
Not
You're not,
insured.
you're not sure.
You're not insured. That's crazy.
Remember, they said something about indemnity bond. Same thing with Moorish saying.
Yeah, but you're not insurable for anything when it comes to 5G because if if you use their 5G network, right? And let's say, for instance, you don't put up a firewall on your system or whatever, right? You're not insured by anything that happens between, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Not even it's frequency.
That's what I'm thinking is the radiation that's coming off of that.
Radiation
Might
coming off
you get sick from that. And live it off.
No, that too. But then, like in real time, like you know what I mean. That too.
That I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
talking about in terms of like the network infrastructure.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with what they're talking about.
I think it's more the health part.
The health part of it, yeah.
Okay.
You could always say the system wasn't working.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You could always say, oh, you didn't get no internet, oh, it wasn't working.
Okay.
On the fall.
Mm.
But it's the affecting your individual body now. And then you get sick from it.
Okay.
That's what you can sue them for.
Okay.
Right.
But normally, look, your phone was out of service for 4 hours, it's shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Do they take out 25 cents an hour out of your bill?
No, they
you
don't.
still pay.
Right, you still
You
gotta
miss all
pay,
those hours.
Exactly.
Miss all those hours and you still have to pay.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
They're slick, man.
Yeah, they're slick. They're slick, yo. They're slick. They're definitely slick. They know exactly what they're doing. And again, we're putting it out there. I don't know where the trolls are at today, but the trolls should. If this was a more talking right now, they'd be in the chat going crazy. Oh, they're there. They're incognito. They're incognito right now. Like, oh, it's a European.
We had doctors, pastors, sheriffs, like Sheriff Lamb, as guest speakers, another 8-hour deal that we did at the Glad Tidings Church in Live Oak, California. So we're bringing communities together, and we were broadcasting live these summits, and they're educational. You're learning about what the COVID is and isn't. You're learning about what law enforcement's duty is. And I don't like using the word law enforcement. I call them peace officers because they're there to protect the peace. Okay? It's not doing false mandates that are in violation of the rights of we the people. We the people actually have the power, and we need to start taking it back.
What about doctors? I mean, there are courts in Italy and everywhere else that are pushing back on the falsified science. Fauci and Gates should probably go to jail for the rest of their lives after this process. But doctors, you pointed out to me that they take an oath to do no harm, and yet they're knowingly harming people. What's your sense of where the doctors of America are in terms of coming out?
Most of them are becoming aware that these are not vaccinations. Number one, they're injections, and they haven't even finished trial yet. They don't finish trial until 2023. So anybody that's taking these injections.
What's your sense of where the doctors of America are in terms of coming out?
Most of them are becoming aware that these are not vaccinations. Number one, they're injections, and they haven't even finished trial yet. They don't finish trial until 2023. So anybody that's taking these injections, not vaccines, injections, is a guinea pig.
That's against the Nuremberg Protocol because they're also violating the informed consent law, much as the others violated women all over the world by sterilizing them with vaccinations. So let's move to the next question. I'm very excited about the idea of pastors, doctors, lawyers, and sheriffs all coming together at the county level. I think this is huge. So what's the difference between a constitutional lawyer and a bar? You sort of touched on that, but give us a little bit more.
Okay, the bar attorneys came into play. I want to say that was in August. I think it was August 21st, 1878. And they incorporated themselves in March. I want to say it was March of 1909 in Chicago, Illinois. And then they kind of spread through the nation like a cancer cell. Okay, they are not licensed. There's only 2 states that license attorneys. Okay, and that's Hawaii and Alaska. They're certified. The bar is the only one that can punish bar members, okay? It's not the court systems that we were guaranteed. We're supposed to have a de jure court system.
And so part of it too is when Moors have those issues where they're trying to force attorney on you or whatever like that. You don't talk about judges and court or whatever like that. Hit up the bar and complain to the bar about it, because that's the only ones who can slap the rest of these people.
Oh, I mean, when you go in there and they're offering you.
And they're offering you.
Yeah, because they see they're giving out cards to even one of the Moors in Brampton was in court that day. And he took a card and I said, what you took that for?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just gonna crush it and show it. They said, what you took it for?
You're gonna crush it over
Yeah,
there.
what you took it for the first.
Yeah.
One of those Brampton Moors.
Yeah.
You know him.
Yeah.
You know him. He was in court.
Not deep.
And I watched him. As soon as he leave court down the road, he took off his fez and put it in his bag.
Yeah.
I saw him after.
Yeah. That's how you know it's real.
Facto. And what happened now is we're dealing with a de facto system. And if you use my paperwork, what I put together, it shows you how to take back the court from an Article 1 military tribunal, which is under Admiralty Maritime law, and bring it back to a common law court. And it's all on how you present yourself to a judge. And the judge is our public servant. He's supposed to be a non-biased party in that. And when they start engaging you by questions, I always have to ask one simple question. Excuse me, are you the judge? Well, yes, I am. I said, okay, is that the prosecutor? Well, yes, that is. Okay, so then why are you asking me discovery questions? Isn't that the job of the prosecutor? That's the way you slap down a judge from the get-go, and you try to start turning the courts back over to we the people in the de jure factor under the common law.
That's really fascinating. I mean, I don't understand it all. And I do post on rights and stuff. And I want people to just basically ask more questions, even if I don't understand it myself. So do you have a plan in place for implementation?
Yes. What we're working on right now is let's go back to where we can actually take a foothold. Okay. If everybody, and this is the bombshell I'm trying to get to people right now with the election fraud, we can put Donald Trump back in office. Okay. We can actually show the fraud. We need to go to our attorney generals. We go to the United States Attorney General, and we go to our Solicitor General. Okay. And we file what's called a quo warranto. Okay. And that's basically saying by what authority you can have any public servant removed from office if they were put in office incorrectly. Now, we know voter fraud exists. I mean, you've got Joe Biden who can't even fill up a driveway with people, and the majority of people that were in his driveway were reporters. And then you've got Donald Trump who can fill up stadiums. Now think about this. They're asking us to be absolutely foolish and allow this fraud to perpetrate itself.
No, you're absolutely right. And the Supreme Court established that any outcome based on fraud, once the fraud is revealed, is overturned. And I'm expecting that to happen in the next couple of months. This is not over by any means.
Yeah, but now I love Sydney to death, and I asked Sydney to join our group, and she said, "Rick, you are so controversial." So the next thing she's doing.
People, but Sydney's also very, very busy. She is.
Yeah.
Don't mistake her silence for.
No, not at all. She's a wonderful woman, and I got a kick out of Release the Kraken.
Now, I want to do two things as we close. One is I want to tell people where they can for. I hope that 100,000 people will donate, which is what I did for the Constitutional Sheriffs, I think. So where can people follow your work, learn more, and donate? And then after you've done that, we'll do a final word for you.
Okay. Yeah, you go to the constitutionallawgroup.us. And I would suggest people go to the resources, and we have step-by-step process. I've got a team that's been putting over 80 hours a weekend because we have to take back America. And everybody knows I've spent several $100,000 of my own money going after these traitors. And I just like to see my team get taken care of because they are working. So we do not charge for what we do. We work on donations alone. And, you know, we the people have to work together, and we need to educate others. So if people would go to...
Say that again.
Prophet said, I'm going to let the European speak the truth.
Yep.
He's speaking.
There he is,
Yeah.
speaking that truth.
Constitutionallawgroup.us. Go to resources and start following the step-by-step instructions. We put it together to where a fourth grader can do it. And people would go, yes.
That's good. And I mean, you talk about donate, volunteer, share, learn, and take action. So I wanted to give you a final word. What's your ultimate message or closeout here as we go forward?
Well, I know Donna Rex, she's an amazing woman. She's my coordinator that's in Washington State. She's putting together a thing for us. We can all start coming together, and it's a march for victory. And that'll be on our site, how all these other groups, if we start uniting, we can forget our differences and start working on one aspect. Let's get our freedom back. And then after we get our freedom back, we can settle our differences. If all of us groups, patriot groups, start coming together under the banner of freedom for all and justice for all, we can have our republic back the way our founding fathers had planned it. One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And that's my wish, and it's where I want America to be. Take back the republic.
European.
Talking Republic now.
Right?
Where it
So let's
wasn't
just,
big in it.
yeah. So let's just put that in harmony with what the prophet was saying. Oh, here you go. You could read that. Just read that. I'll be right back.
What, divine warning there?
Yeah.
There's a divine warning by the prophet for the nations. It says the citizens of all free national governments, according to their free national constitution, are all one of one family bearing one free national name. Those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government are classified as undesirables and are subject to all inferior names and abuses and mistreatments that the citizens care to bestow upon them. And it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to the names and principles that delude to slavery. I, the prophet, was prepared by the great God Allah to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways and go back to that state of mind, to their forefathers and the divine national principles, that they will be law-abiders and receive their divine right as citizens, according to the free national constitution that was prepared for all free national beings. They are to claim their own free national name and religion. There is but one issue for them to be recognized by this government and of the earth, and it comes only through the connection of the Moorish divine national movement, which is incorporated in this government and recognized by all other nations of the world. And through it, they and their children can receive their divine rights, unmolested by other citizens, that they can cast a free national ballot at the polls under the free national constitution of the United States government, and not under a guaranteed privilege as being the existing condition for many generations. You who doubt whether I, the prophet, and my principles are right for the redemption of my people, go to those that know law in City Hall and among the officials in your government, and ask them under an intelligent tone, and they will be glad to render you a favorable reply, for they are glad to see me bring you out of darkness into light. Money doesn't make the man. It is free national standards and power that makes a man and a nation.
The wealth, repeat it again.
Right?
Money.
So money doesn't make the man. It is free national standards and power that makes a man and a nation. Right? The wealth of all national governments, gold and silver and commerce, belong to the citizens alone. And without your free national citizenship by name and principles, you have no true wealth. And I am hereby calling on all true citizens that stand for a free national government and the enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work, because I need all the support from all true American citizens of the United States of America. Help me to save my people who have fallen from the constitutional laws of government. And I'm depending on your support to get them back to the constitutional fold again, that they will learn to love instead of hate, and I will live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, supporting our free national constitution of the United States of America. I love my people and I desire for their unity and mind back to their own free national and divine standard, because day by day they have been violating the national constitutional laws of their government, by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. If Italians, Greeks, English, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion for the constitutional government of the United States of America, it is no more than right that the law should be enforced upon all other American citizens alike. And all other governments, when a man is born and raised there and asks for his national descent name, and if he fails to give it, he is misused, imprisoned, or exiled. Any group of people that fail to enter upon the constitutional fold of government or standards of law by the name and principles, because to be a citizen of any government, you must claim your national descent name, because because they place their trust upon issue and names formed by their forefathers. The word Negro dilutes in Latin language to the word nigger, the same as the word colored dilutes to anything that is painted, varnished, and dyed. And every nation must bear a national descent name of their forefathers, because honoring thy fathers and thy mothers, their days will be lengthened upon this earth. And these names have never been recognized by any true American citizens of this day. And through your free national name, you're known and recognized by all nations of the earth that are recognized by the said national government in which they live. The 14th and 15th Amendment brought the North and the South in unit, placing the Southerners who were at power with time without power with the constitutional body of power. The free national constitutional law that was in force since 1774 declared all men equal and free. And if all men are equal and are declared by the free national constitution to be free and equal, since that constitution has never been changed, there is no need for the application of the 14th and 15th amendments for the salvation of our people and citizens. So there isn't just one supreme issue for my people to use to redeem that which was lost, and that is through the above statements. Then the lion and lamb can lie down together in yonder hills, and neither will be harmed, because love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice will be reigning in this land. And in those days, the United States will be one of the greatest civilizations, prosperous governments of the world. But if the above principles are not carried out by the citizens of my people in this government, the worst is yet to come, because the great God of the universe is not pleased with the works that are being performed in North America by my people. This great sin must be removed from the land to save it from enormous earthquakes and diseases, etc. And I, the prophet, do herein believe that this administration of the government, more wisely prepared by the genius citizens that believe in their free national constitution and laws through the help of such class citizens, I, the prophet, truly believe that my people will find the true and divine way of their forefathers and learn to stop serving carnal customs and merely ideas of men that have never done them any good, but have always harmed them. So I, the prophet, are hereby calling out loud with a divine plea to all true American citizens to help me remove this great sin which has been committed and is being practiced by my people in the United States of America, because they know that it is not true and divine. The way, and without understanding, they have fallen from the true light into utter darkness of sin. And there is not a nation on earth today that will recognize them socially, religiously, politically, or economically, etc. In their present condition of their endeavorment, in which they themselves try to force upon a civilized world, they will not refrain from their sinful ways of action. Their deeds have brought Jim Crowism, segregation, everything that brings harm to human beings on earth. And they have fought Southerners for all these great misuses, but I have traveled in the South, and I have examined the conditions there, and as the works of my people continuously practicing the things which bring dishonor, disgrace, and disrespect to any nation that lives the life. And I am hereby calling on all true American citizens for moral support and finance to help me in my great missionary work to bring my people out of darkness into marvelous light. From the prophet.
Islam. All right, so that little thing right there that we just watched is right in line with what Noble Drew-Ali's been telling us for a century. Constitutional enforcement the citizens taking their position of making sure that they're enforcing the Constitution. Not only that they're enforcing the Constitution, but recognizing that all the fictions that we've been following take us outside of the constitutional fold, including including this term sovereign citizen, or claiming we're sovereign or whatever like that. Bottom line, we're Moors. Anything other than that is misnomer, right? Doesn't matter what it is. As soon as you start talking about something else other than Moors, then we're definitely dealing with something that we're not.
I'm waiting to hear him use that
Hmm?
loudly saying.
Hmm.
I'm waiting to see if he's gonna talk about the words.
Yep.
No,
All the way he's talking.
yeah.
That's all he had to do was put in there. Just throw it in.
Yeah.
Just throw it in.
And show his people a face.
Yep.
You see the people that wear this thing here? Yeah. They are the ones that know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
The question was, what should we do with the groups that parrot us true Moors? If they're speaking in harmony or speaking in favor of what the Moors are talking about, they have to be, I wouldn't say we gotta give them finance or support their stuff or whatever like that, but their message should be pushed. You know what I mean? Put their stuff out there as well, just like what we did with this European right here. He's talking in favor of everything that we're saying. He wasn't talking about Moors are wrong and this and that, like how the other Europeans are talking.
I noticed you didn't talk about black and white.
Yeah, talking about citizens all the time. We the people, you're not talking about white people need to do something or whatever.
And also mentioned, kind of off what you're saying, but we never mentioned black or white. He also said, forget our problems. Let's just worry about getting our freedom back.
Yeah.
And then we'll worry about the
Black and white.
Yep.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
Yep.
Just kick back your feet.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Islam.
Like I wasn't saying sovereign citizen, but there's someone in the comments saying that I'm just saying sovereign citizen.
Yeah.
No, I never heard that.
Yeah. No such thing as sovereign citizen. Do you have any info on what's going on at the United Res Republic of Morocco in Wilmington, Delaware? All that stuff is handled by House of Ram, Brother Abdullah Bey, and you got their they actually have the Res Republic website up now, so you can go on there if you're interested in that. You can go do your thing.
What website?
Abdullah Bey, his website. I don't know exactly. That's the address.
Yeah, I'm about to look for it right now. So what
He had the website before that.
United Res Publica of Morocco.com. United Res Publica of Morocco.com. And also for treaties, Public International Law Library, UNI MLB dot libguides.com. UNI MLB UNIMELB, my bad. UNIMELB dot libguides.com / international law. / treaties. UNIMELB dot libguides.com /international law /treaties. Don't forget, ask your questions in all caps or it's going to get lost in the chat. We're not going to be searching up and down the chat for your questions. Then you're going to be mad. They didn't answer my question. We didn't see your question because it looks like everybody else's comments in here. So make sure you ask your questions in all caps so we could see your question. But I see you, Anthony. How do I obtain nationality? First of all, there's a learning curve that comes with nationality. Nationality isn't go to that guy, pay 5,000, and then now you got it. Nationality is not go to them, do some course for $5,000, and then now you got it. Nationality is going out, doing your own due diligence. We have the website at the bottom of the screen, scrolling across the screen, so you can go and learn. rvbaypublications.com. There should be no obtaining of nationality without knowledge of what nationality is. You shouldn't want to obtain a nationality and you haven't looked up nationality in a law dictionary. Right? And then subsequent words that come from that. After you look up nationality, that's going to give you some words. And there's definitely going to be words in there that you don't know. You look those ones up too. But as soon as people's mindset is, I have this card, I have this paper, so I have a nationality, that's not the right concept. And like we say, you're eventually going to get injured because that stuff's going to catch up to you.
The term of never used a gun before.
Yeah.
You get it now. You gotta go through.
Yep.
You can target practice.
Yeah. Yeah. Or the idea of same thing with the gun, but they don't know how to take it apart, clean it, put it together, nothing like that. They just want to. That's all they want to do. Just shoot targets. What about the cleaning part? What about all that? You know what I mean? Look at nationality like that. Nationality is the gun. Are you gonna go just pick it up and use it? Nationality is the chainsaw.
Shoot yourself for a cut.
Yes, you know what I mean? You're just gonna go pick it up, go cut down oak trees just because, I got this. Cut your foot off and then you're blaming Moors. Moors made me cut my foot off because they didn't tell me. I seen them do it, and then I just wanted to do it because I'm a Moor, right? I killed my mom. Yeah, but you're not conscious that you're a Moor yet. So, and like the Moors say, the boat has left the dock. So if you're on the dock talking about I want to be a Moor, you got some swimming to do first. Slow down, right?
It's like the intern with the law and the law office that has a stack of the stuff that they gotta sort out.
Yeah.
All those paperwork they gotta sort out. Yeah, it takes time to do that.
It takes time, Takes time. We're gonna do page 89 in our page 89 in our pocket Quran. Holy instructions from the Prophet, pinnacle of wisdom. Pinnacle of wisdom. And again, this is relative to obtaining your nationality. If you don't know Jwali's birthday, don't talk about proclaim anything. If you don't even know what Jwali is, don't even talk about it. If you never heard about Noble Jwali before, and you heard about nationality, somebody played you. So they're supposed to tell you about the Prophet. All right? Holy instructions from the Prophet, pinnacle of wisdom. As the eye of the morning to the lark, as the shade of the evening to the owl, as honey to the bee, as the carcass of the vulture, even such is life unto the heart of man. Though bright, it dazzleth not. Though obscure, it displeaseth not. Though sweet, it cloyeth not. Though corrupt, it forbiddeth not. Yet, who is he that knoweth its true value? Learn to esteem as thou art. Then art thou near the pinnacle of wisdom? Think not with the fool that nothing is more valuable, nor believe with the pretended wise that thou oughtest to condemn it. Love it not thyself, but for the good it may be to others. Gold cannot buy it for thee, neither mines of diamonds purchase back the moment thou hast now lost it. Employ the succeeding ones in virtue. Say not that it were best not to have been born, or if born, that it has been best to die early. Neither dare thou to ask for thy Creator. Where has been the evil, had I not existed? Good is thy power, the want of good is evil. And if thy question be just, lo, it condemneth thee. Would the fish swallow the bait if he knew the hook were hidden therein? Would the lion enter the toils if he saw there were prepared for him? So neither were the soul to perish with his clay. Neither would a merciful Father have created him. Now, no hence thou shalt live afterwards. As the bird encloseth in the cage before he seeth, yet teareth not his flesh against its sides. So neither labor thou vainly to run the state thou art in, but know it is allotted thee, and be content with it. Though its ways are uneven, yet they are not all painful. Accommodate thyself to all, and where there is the least appearance of evil, suspect the greatest danger. When thy bed is straw, thou sleepest in security. But when thou stretchest thyself on roses, beware of the thorns. A good death is better than an evil life. Strive therefore to live as long as thou oughtest, not as long as thou canst. While thy life is to others worth more than thy death, it is thy duty to preserve it. Complain not with the fool of the shortness of thy time. Remember, with thy days thy cares are shortened. Take from the period of thy life the useless part of it, and what remaineth. Take off the time of thine infancy, thy second infancy of age, thy sleep, thy thoughtless hours, thy days of sickness, and even at thy fullest of years, how few seasons hast truly numbered. He who gave thee life as a blessing shortened it to make it even more so. And what end would longer life have served thee? Wishest thou to have had an opportunity of more vices? As to the good, will not he who limiteth thy span be satisfied with the fruits from it? To what end, O child of sorrow, wouldest thou live longer? To breathe, to eat, to see the world? All this thou hast done often already. Too frequent repetition. Is it not tiresome, or is it not superfluous? Wouldn't thou improve thy wisdom and thy virtue? Alas, what art thou to know? Or who is it that shall teach thee? Badly thou employest the little thou hast. Dare not, therefore, to complain that the more is not given thee. Repine not at the want of knowledge. It must perish within the grave. Be honest here. Thou shalt be wiser hereafter. Say not unto the crow, why numberest thou 7 times thy Lord? Or to the fawn, why art thine eyes to see my offspring 100 generations? Are these to be compared with thee in the abuse of life? Are they riotous? Are they cruel? Are they grateful? Learn from them, rather than innocence of manners are the paths of good old age. Knowest thou to employ life better than these? Then less of it may suffice thee. Man who dares enslave the world, when he knows he can enjoy his tyranny but for a moment, what would he not aim at if it were immortal? Enough thou hast life, but thou regardeth it not. Thou art not in want of it, O man, but thou art prodigal. Thou threwest it lightest away, as if thou hadst more than enough. And yet thou repinest that it is not gathered again unto thee. Know that it is not abundance which maketh rich. Know that it is not abundance which maketh rich, but economy. The wise continueth to live from his first period. The fool is always beginning. Labor not after riches first, and think thou wilt afterwards enjoy them. He who neglecteth the present moment throweth away all that he hath. As the arrow passes through the heart, while the warrior knew not that it was coming, so shall his life be taken away before he knoweth that he had it. What then is life, that man should desire it? What breathing, that he should covet it? Is it not a scene of delusion, a series of misadventures, a pursuit of evils linked on all sides together? In the beginning, it is ignorance. Pain is in the middle, and its end is sorrow. As one wave pushes on another, till both are involved in that behind them. Even so succeedeth evil to evil in life of man. The greatest and present swallow up the lesser and the past. Our terrors are real evils. Our expectations look forward into impossibilities. Fools to dread as mortals and desire as if immortal. What part of life is it that we should wish to remain with us? Is it youth? Can we be in love with outrage, licentiousness, and temerity? Is it age? Then we are fond of infirmities. It is said, gray hairs are revered, and length of days an honor. Virtue can add reverence to the bloom of youth, and without it, age plants more wrinkled in the soul than on the forehead. Is age respected because it hath riot? What justice is in this when it is not age that despiseth pleasure, but pleasure that despiseth age? Be virtuous while thou art young, so shall thine age be honored. Islam. Pinnacle of wisdom. Seek knowledge.
What chapter was that?
39, page 89. Chapter 39. Holy instructions from the Prophet, pinnacle of wisdom.
What I took from that was, preserving the. For me, what I took from that was to help, live as long as you can, not just because you know you're gonna go. Like, this is what I always tell, like, a lot of the elders. I try to always tell them, the ones that smoke, I always say, why don't you stop smoking? And a lot of them will say, well, we're just gonna die one day anyways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's the same thing how it's saying, you want to strive to live as long as possible, right?
Yeah.
You want to preserve the bodies for as long as possible.
Right.
You want to deteriorate, that you do something that is just deteriorating it, right?
Yeah, everybody has their role.
But then that reminds me of that whole thing of, if you didn't learn that lesson in this life, maybe you learn it in the next life.
Yeah.
So you learn that lesson, and
the lesson you're gonna keep going back till you learn it. Yeah. Man who dares enslave the world when he knows he can enjoy his tyranny but for a moment, what would he not aim at if he were immortal? Enough hath thou of life, but thou regardest it not. Thou art not in want of it. O man, thou art prodigal. Thou threwest it lightly away, as if thou hadst more than enough, and yet thou repinest that is not gathered again unto thee. Know that it is not abundance which maketh rich, but economy. What then is life, that man shouldn't desire it? What breathing, that he should covet it? Is it not a scene of delusion, a series of misadventures, a pursuit of evils linked on all sides together? In the beginning it is ignorance. Pain is in its middle, and its end is sorrow. As one wave pusheth on another, till both are involved in that behind them, even so succeedeth evil to evil in the life of man. The greatest and the present swallow up the lesser and the past. Our terrors are real evils. Our terrors are real evils. Our expectations look forward into impossibilities. Be virtuous while thou art young, so shall thine age be honored. Islam.
The next part there too with abundance of the economy,
Mhm.
and how the fact that it says not a man's not rich by abundance, he's rich by the economy. And it dawned on me like how it's just reflecting on how when you said that, I'm just reflecting on how like a third, like let's say Cuba or something, like let's say like Dominican or something.
Yeah.
The economy is like, or Brazil, the economy is very poor.
Yeah.
Right. So you can't have, somebody that's doing really good, that thinks he's doing really good in that particular part where the economy is really bad. Collective, he's not going to survive.
Yeah.
Right. It has to be a collective.
Yeah.
The economy itself, like collectively overall,
Is where it caught. Yeah. Yeah.
If it was like nourishing overall, then he's gonna be still good, and everybody else is gonna be good. But then those people that, as I say, he sets up a shop, right? He has a shop because he's rich, right? His shop, he won't be good. It's the economy because everybody else around him, they can't buy nothing from the store. They don't got no, they ain't good like him, right? So it's the balance right there, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. And that's from Pinnacle Wisdom, chapter
39. Islam. Any other comments, questions? Where we're Islam. Like everybody's clear. Islam to all the Moors.
The second part of what it said there, even up to death, it's better to die in death than to live kind of messed up life.
evil life.
Evil life.
But then that's where it is too, right? With each individual, thyself one master, right? You get the free will. So evil life, when you got that lesson, now it's on you to correction. Right?
Mhm.
Right now, because you have free will, right? No one else is going to correct you on that. So these are key lessons right here, right?
Yeah. And then that's why he said too, study that Quran.
So,
Study your Quran, study your Moorish literature, study whatever that Juali brought, because that's where the salvation's at. Islam to all the Moors. Thanks for today.
yeah, thanks.
We'll just get our close out. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth.
Peace.
Freedom. And justice.
Justice.
Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide.
And
my salvation. By night. And by day. Through his holy prophet. Noble Jew Ali. Islam. Ashe. Yes. Yeah. Islam, Moors. Peace and love to all.